So who of you does still remember the first contact with Scrum or any other Agile method? And how was it? Awesome, yeah. Yeah, for me it was like that. Yeah, Scrum, finally. I found a solution. Now I know how to work. I have self-managing teams. We have the customer deeply involved. And I said, yeah, Scrum, that's how I want to work. But maybe as some other teams and maybe some other people in the room recognized after maybe about 6 months, it looks like that. Deep depression. Yeah. Scrum doesn't work for us here. Yeah. Let's try Kanban. Maybe this is better. Yeah. So it's interesting. I saw a lot of companies in the past years, and really after about 6 months, you get really into this depression mode. Nothing is really moving forward. Scrum doesn't really help anymore. But we want to get there back again, right? You want to have it awesome again. Scrum and Agile should work perfectly. And what does a good Scrum Master do when a Scrum is not really performing and he has to search for something new? He's looking into the internet, reading blogs, some new cool books about some cool methods you can use, like, for example, system thinking. So system thinking was one of the things I observed and found out, yeah, maybe system thinking could help me to solve all these problems I have. Because most of the people are not really aware that they are also part of the system. Some people think like, okay, oh, something's happening and now I'm the guy who has to care for all these things. I'm really now in a big mess. But what he forgets about is that he's not the end point, right? Everything he does or she does still has, again, an effect on the system, right? So it's important to know about it. Another great thing about system thinking is it gives you maybe some new ideas you can do and try in your teams. So there are nice tools out there for that. One is this favorite causal loop diagram. Who saw some diagrams in the past like that? Oh, some people at least. So let's look at this nice example. For example, velocity here in the middle is maybe low. And then you're collecting all variables around it that maybe are affecting your velocity. And you try to find out, okay, what's there, like, okay, maybe food. The more food we have, the bigger the velocity, maybe. Yeah, or on top, maybe more, so it's more serious, like, okay, maybe better requirements. I will turn this around for me. So the quality of requirements affect velocity. So you find all these variables around in such a causal diagram that you maybe can use to find out and find better solutions for that. Another nice tool from systems thinking is the current reality tree. Who loves trees? Yeah, I also love trees. I'm doing tree hugging every Sunday. So what you do in a current reality tree, first of all, you collect all the undecided effects you have in your organization, in your system, and then you try to relate these things together and find out where are the gaps, and then find out, okay, what could we do. So the undecided effects here in this case were customer dissatisfied, low velocity, low software quality, and then you try to find out, okay, what else happens and how does these things affect in that, and how can we possibly use these variables then to affect our system. But let me stop here. It was a quite fast introduction to system thinking, I know, but so when I prepared this talk the first time, I was really thinking about, did system thinking really help me to solve my problems? And I have to admit, no. It's just another tool, yeah, right? And when you look into this nice Polish manifesto, and you look at the first element, which is Ludzi i interakcje od procesów i nadeśni, or something like that, right? Was close, or? Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah? So humans and interactions over processes and tools, right? And it seems that most of the people completely forgot about this. So already he said in his talk earlier, so he introduced the process and tried to put Scrum on the team, but he completely forgot about the people, right? The first thing is really human interactions over processes and tools. This is the most important part in Agile. And if you go to some team, I had companies and we wanted to introduce Scrum, and the first question was, so what tool should we buy? Jira or version 1? Yeah. And this is the first thing they did in the agile transformation. This is just the plain wrong first step, right? So when you look at this guy, who knows this guy here on this picture? Are there some David Garrett fans in Poland? I looked it up yesterday on Facebook. There's actually a Polish Facebook fan page of him, so I thought maybe some people know him. So this is a famous violin player. He's really good. I think already at the age of 4, he was quite great in playing violin. And if you listen to him, you say, wow, this is an awesome player. Yeah, he does great music. So what instrument is he using? Oh, a Stradivarius. So let's go and buy a Stradivarius. And then we can play, of course, as on the same high level than he did, right? Right? Nobody would think like that. But interestingly, in Agile or in Scrum, it's happening like that, right? You see maybe an awesome team somewhere, and they did great stuff, and it's really, really, really cool, and they deliver, and they say, wow, how do they work? Oh, they're doing daily stand-ups. Oh, they're doing sprint plannings. They deliver every 2 weeks. Wow, we have to do the same. And then you copy it one-on-one on your team and find out it doesn't work. Why? Because you forgot the people. Because it's not about the process, it's about the people. These are the awesome guys. I always say, if you have a really, really bad team already and you give them the best tools, the best processes, they still won't be able to deliver anything, maybe some tiny bits. But if you have a really passionate team, they can even deliver if there are an environment where maybe the processes are not so good, and they always find ways to get around that and still deliver something. So it's really about having such a team first, right? Or like this one here, yeah. Only by putting a new shiny saddle on your dead horse, it won't get it running again. Yeah, it's made like electroshocks. Maybe just a bit like that, but still not moving, right? So you have to care first for the team, that this works really nice, and then you can think about maybe bringing some tools and some ideas in there. So what you really need is, you need passion. If you don't have a passionate team, then you don't have to bring any new tools and stuff in there, because it won't really work. Yeah, it's like buying a Stradivarius because you want to play great music. Yeah, but still you need the skills for that, and it's the same with teams. And passionate teams really can do, I always say, passionate teams can do anything, right? And of course, there are people passionate about accounting. Are there anybody in the room accounting? Passionate people? No? But there are, I know. But so if you're developing an accounting software, would it be good to have somebody who is passionate about accounting software, right? Would be cool. So you may know that when you have a house or a flat or something, you have to clean it, right? Once a week maybe. In our family, it's on Saturdays. Saturdays is cleaning day. And I hate cleaning. But I have 2 kids. So what do I do with my kids? So what I do is I create an awesome vision for them. I let them imagine they're sitting on the couch with their tablet or their mobile phone in their hand, playing Clash Royale or Clash of Clans or any other of these clashy games, yeah. And they say, wow! And then they're cleaning bathrooms in half an hour. That's awesome, yeah. So I create passion in my kids for playing something on the couch later, and it works well. So if you want to clean your house, then you can ask my kid. No, try it with your own kids, and then it should work for them perfectly. Or have a look at these guys from SpaceX. So I think it was in April this year where they were able to bring a rocket back the first time on one of these swimming drones on the ocean, right? And interesting, when you think about how rockets were put into the universe, I think there's a better term for that, into the orbit earlier, they were still using technology from the 60s and 70s. They were asking the Russians, can you please put our ISS stuff into here, to the ISS up here? Yeah, sure. And then we still had these strange computers in there from the 70s and 60s. And SpaceX thought, no, we want to do it better. We want to really rebuild rockets. Nobody did it. And why did they do it? They're really passionate about this whole topic about going to Mars in the end. That's the big vision of Elon Musk in the end. So you wouldn't be able to build such a rocket without people passionate about that. And they are not using Scrum, by the way. I just tried to find out, but they didn't find anything that they are working like that. But they're really working like, okay, we want to solve this problem, so just get around this and try to solve it. So our supplier's not able to deliver some parts, so let's build the parts on our own. This is what they did, for example, yeah. So they always find there is a problem, we find a solution, because they want to do it. They are passionate about solving these problems. So what can we do to get passionate teams? From my perspective, we need 7 elements. So we need passionate people. The team needs to be adaptable. We need a strong vision. The people have to be strength-oriented, independent. There has to be some oneness, and some nimbleness would also be awesome. So let's go into details here. So from my point of view, it's really important that people love what they are doing. Either they have a passion for the technology they are building, or they have a passion for the topic like accounting or whatever, building an app for taxi ordering, whatever. Yeah. So there has to be something like that. Or they have a passion for web technology or building mobile apps or whatsoever. If this is not existent, then maybe these guys are already not the right people on your team, right? So when you look at this guy, this is the German Fabian Hambüchen. It's really famous on gymnastics and stuff. So he was injured, and he started training for Olympics only 3 months before Olympics started. 3 months. Others trained for 2-3 years for that stuff. Yeah. And in the end, he won the gold medal. But do you believe this guy would be awesome in gymnastic stuff if he is not passionate about this? Look at me. I sucked at gymnastics, really. I hated it. Yeah, I always tried to do this the most simple stuff we can do in this just to get through, like just under the bar, and then just and that, not even roll over or roll backwards. No, I tried the most simple stuff because it was just not my passion. I didn't like it. But I play saxophone. I play quite good saxophone because I like it. I have a passion for playing saxophone, and it's important. If you don't have such thing in you, then it's difficult. And of course, a team needs to be adaptable. If you still believe your environment is not changing for the next 12 months, then maybe you're living in the past already. Yeah, it's like that. The past is really everything is changing quite fast. If you look back, for example, in 2006, where we had the Soccer World Cup in Germany, and you just think back, what was your favorite app 2006 on your smartphone? Think about it. There was no smartphone in 2006. Yeah, iPhone was presented in 2007. You know, and now it's just normal to wear such a smartphone in your pocket. It's just like that. A lot of companies died because of these now smartphone apps like navigation systems now able with Google and all these things. Yeah, Kodak died nearly because now you can easily make photos with your mobile phone and so on. So nowadays you have to be adaptable. Let's look at this beautiful computer. Who knows this computer? Yeah, I love this computer. At least I loved it 20 years ago or something like that. So this is the Amiga 500, right? So they brought it on the market, I think, in 1986. And then they believed, oh, perfect, it's selling like bread, so let's do nothing. So the first new computer they brought out was, okay, the Amiga 600, don't talk about this shit. Yeah. So the real new stuff, the Amiga 1200 or Amiga 4000 came out in 1991. Yeah. 5 years later. This is already centuries in the IT department. And it was too late, of course. Amiga died. Lots of companies tried to buy Amiga, but nobody really was able to, dead horse, you know. Yeah. But then look at this company, for example, Microsoft. I know a lot of people hate Microsoft. I can understand maybe slightly, but I love my one. It's nice. Yeah. So what they did is really they were also on the way going down already because operating systems is not maybe the number one stuff anymore, and so they went into hardware. So they sucked really in smartphones. Didn't really work out. But then they built some beautiful laptops, like the Surface Book or the Surface Pro, like that, and they really adapt to the market. Now they have this Office 365, for example, and so they really adapted to the market, to the needs, to still do survive. And if you don't adapt, also in your team, if your team still believes, we don't have to adapt, you won't be to survive anywhere. One of the most important things for me, for a passionate team, is to have a strong vision like this one. If people aren't laughing at your dreams aren't big enough. Yeah. So what does happen when you have a company vision like, we want to raise the EBIT by 5% in 2016? Ooh, I get really passionate about raising the EBIT by 5%. Yeah. And I bet some of you companies have something like that, right? Who has something like that in this company? Yeah. Nice posters. And then I was working in a bigger company, they had these posters with a vision on it, and everybody was laughing and painting on the stuff, and because it was just a joke for them. Because it was not really, there was nothing in there which would generate some passion for them, right? So you need some kind of a vision, some strong vision. Like the vision, for example, from SpaceX I already mentioned, like that. Yeah? Enable self-sustaining civilization on Mars. Yeah? When Elon Musk was going out with this vision, I think 10 years ago, everybody was laughing at him. You're crazy, come on. Yeah? Going on Mars. And now he's planning his first Mars mission. Yeah? He's really getting there. So what they did, they had in-between goals for sure, like, okay, we have to build a rocket at all. Then it would be nice if this rocket came back, that it's more cheap to bring rockets up there. And then now let's sell these rockets to NASA and so on to bring some stuff up to the ISS and then earn some money. And then we can go on and eventually in the end go to Mars. That's the idea. And if you have a vision like, okay, you can easily reach by the end of the year, that's not a vision, that's a goal. But some people sell it like a vision for you. So it's really important to have something to really know why, right? If you go to work, you want to know why I am going to work. What do I change with the work I'm doing? I worked with Bosch, for example, the radar project. So they really care about, we want to make driving safer. I go to work every morning because I know the stuff I'm building here, the radar sensors I'm building here, will help to get my car safer to work in the end, or other people to work. So we will reduce all these traffic accidents. Yeah, this is something I can create a passion for. This is important. And if you don't know why you are going to work, in only short term you will leave because it's not really driving you anymore. It's not really interesting for you anymore. So start with why is an awesome TED Talk also. It's an awesome book here. This is important. And it's still interesting also in a lot of agile projects I'm coaching that this is just missing. They just have a backlog of 300 items, then they do cycles, work on this, all this stuff, but nobody really knows why we are doing this, where are we heading to, what are we doing with all this stuff. We're just working on the stuff because somewhere thrown over the fence. Ooh, perfect. Yeah, so it's really important why you're doing stuff. This is an interesting study Cisco did in spring this year. So they looked at their best teams to find out, okay, what really distinguishes our best teams from the other ones, for the normal teams. And they found out that the number one reason people really loved to work in this team and really did a great job was, they could bring in the best of themselves. So they could use their strengths in the team. A lot of companies still have these performance appraisals like, okay, you have to get better in this area by the end of the year, and you have to do training in this area to get better in this area. Yeah, so really focusing on the weaknesses, but it's just bullshit. Why should you as a company focus on weaknesses instead of the strengths that are already there? You're paying these guys already, right? So why not using their strengths? Number 2 was safety and trust. So even if I do mistake, nobody's finger pointing, blaming me or something like that. I feel really safe in this team. And number 3 was they all have the same understanding of the values of the quality, for example, they are creating. If you have somebody in the team who says, we need to have unit tests everywhere, we need to do TDD, and the other one is just a quick and dirty guy, come on, if it's running, it's fine. You always will have conflict in a team, right? It doesn't work. So there has to be some kind of a same idea how to do stuff in your team. So this is why it's so important for me to have some strengths oriented in there. There are interesting books out there, like these Strengths Finder. I know it's German here, but if you search for Strengths Finder 2.0, I think it's here, you'll find a book. I'm sure there's even maybe a Polish version for that. So you can go on an online test and then just find out, okay, what are your strengths? But this is something you should do also with your manager to find out, okay, what people do we have in the team? And how can we combine different strengths together to build a great team in the end? So what usually happens when you start a new project? You start a new project, you need 5 developers. What happens? Who has time? Okay. Pavel has time, Piotr has time, yeah, Ivan has time, and Rolf has time, and Marc also has some time. Let's put them together in a team and start the project. This is the usual thing that happens in big companies, right? Who experience like that? Oh, yeah, a lot of people. But this is not how you build a team. There's nothing to do with Agile. But in a real team, we really try to put people into a team that really can work perfectly together, that really have different strengths, and combined, they are really awesome in the end. The next thing is they have to be as independent as possible from my point of view. Yeah. There's nothing worse than a global product development process. Who has something like that in this company? I will talk to you later here in the middle. He's just raising his hands every question. Poor guy. And we had something similar in the last company I was working. We had a global product development process. We had to use this process if we were building just a scalpel, was a medical company, or a complete IT system. So the process has to be able to cover all this stuff, right? And you can imagine how nice and easy it was to work with this process in the end. Yeah, people were spending about 50% of the time writing documents for the shitty process in the end. Yeah. From my perspective, it's much better if the team can choose how they want to implement the process, how they want to work. And if you talk about synergies, yeah, we need to buy the same tools for everybody in the company because of synergies. Come on, forget it. Yeah. If you talk to people, some is happy with Trello, the other one wants to work with paper, the next one, I want really a big tool like Jira. So there's never a team where they have all the same requirements for a tool. It never works. And this is something that also BMW did. So they said, okay, we want to develop these electric cars, yeah, so the BMW i. So they just founded their own company, which was completely independent from BMW, because they know, okay, if we do it in our organization, it won't work. There's no innovation in there. It doesn't work, right? Nobody still buys these cars, but okay, different story. Yeah, but at least they tried to be more innovative and faster. And now they have the i3 with range extender, 200 kilometers more. Okay, great. The next really important thing is to create some kind of oneness in your teams. Yeah. In the beginning, you have maybe an egg, and you have maybe some flour, and then you have some milk and other stuff. But it would be good to have them really together as one team, right? Not single persons anymore. What you want to have is some kind of a dove, right? You don't want that people from the outside really say, yeah, here Pavel is the one, or this. You really want that they talk about your team. And then that also the team is talking about them as a team, and there's no finger pointing and blaming in there. This is the number 2 we had earlier of the Cisco survey they did. It's really about the safety and trust stuff, right? You know, okay, even if I do a mistake, and even if it doesn't really work out for me, nobody will start finger pointing and say, yeah, I know the build is broken, it was Pavel. Yeah. That's not nice. Yeah. You won't have the team who stands really together. Yeah, okay, we delivered something that doesn't work perfect. We're working together to just get rid of it and get it working again. That's important. You don't want to have a lone wolf, yeah, or something like that. You really want to have a team that's really working together. And last but not least, it would also be good to have some kind of a nimble team. So a team that really already knows that it's important to continuously learn new stuff. I talk to people fresh from university, and they truly believe that, oh, I was in university, I can't stop learning. I know everything. I was in university, yeah. I have all these ones everywhere, and I have great. Yeah, but if you're really in this business, yeah, the worst thing you can do is stop learning. Even if you're building bricks or something like that, there's always some new technology, how to build walls or something like that, yeah. So if you stop learning, that's the worst thing you can do. So you did the right thing, you're on this conference today, yeah, because you want to learn new stuff. You want to get new stuff, you want to get new ideas. Maybe you have some community of practices in your company, maybe you do brown decks in your lunch break, maybe you give your own talks, maybe you visit whatever other community meetups. This is important. And if you have a team where they say, oh yeah, come on, I know everything and I don't need to learn new stuff, then it's always already the wrong turn they are in there, right? So from my perspective, you need all these 7 elements to really get a passionate team. And then when you have a passionate team, then you can really bring in Scrum, Kanban, whatever process to help them to get even better. But it doesn't make sense to have maybe a dead horse and then bring in the process and hope it will work. Doesn't work. And you have to find out, okay, if it's dead horse, it's difficult, I know, but you have to maybe find out what's the passion of the dead horse. Yeah, maybe you can reactivate it somehow. Really go into the team and find out, is there really a passion in the people? Do they really believe what they're building? Do they really like it? Is there something maybe I can do that they find something that is more passion for them? Is there a vision? If yes, is it visible to everyone? Is it only one? Because I also had companies who had 3 different visions in different directions. Yeah. So this is something you can ask here. Yeah. Can we focus on strengths instead of weaknesses? Yeah. Is this team as independent as possible? Do we give them some freedom to really work and find their own way of working, for example? And oneness, nimbleness, all these things. And when you really look at your team and assess your team in these areas, you can really find, okay, oh, this is an area we have to work on. So I have, when you go on my homepage, you can see there are 4 levels defined for all these elements, and you can really assess your team, find out, okay, on which level are we in our team, and then you can find ideas, okay, what can we do to get on the next level, to get better, to get more and more passion into the team, and then help them to really deliver. Thank you.